What is up, guys? It is your boy Phil Shocker, the 96 Hedgehog here with our APA draft, low tier draft recap. Like I said, don't know if I've been going to be deciding to do the Week 10 battle. I actually have looked up, and it may have looked like, I don't know if matches have been fully updated or not for the week and anything like that yet, but we could have a playoff chance. It's really going to come down again, like I said, to if everything's updated and we actually legitimately have a chance to make the playoffs, I may go ahead and upload a week 10. And if I really feel like there's no way I will make the playoffs, because I hate having to have a game that's where it's win or out. So I don't want to have that kind of situation with me. So I don't know. Again, you may be seeing this after week 9 match, or you'll be seeing this after the week 10 match, whether we play it or not. So that's going to be up there as well. But we're going to be bringing up the recap of the squad. We're going to be going down the Mons that really put in the work this season, Mons that didn't do anything that really helped us, and then Mons that just try to do whatever it could do to fit any role on the team. If you guys can, again, hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to join the Phil Shocker crew today because you be feeling with the king of the crew. So let's go ahead and break down the team that we had this season. As always, we always kick off with our worst Mons to the bed. Now, obviously, Arbok did, in my opinion, the worst on our team. But to be fair, Arbok could have put in some work with our team if we just made correct plays with it. But in general, Arbok just didn't come to a lot of games. It really wasn't necessary of a Mon to be brought. It really wasn't doing what we wanted to do. And there could have been some potential with it, but in the end of the day, there wasn't. So Arbok, thank you for trying your service there. Another Mon we just didn't have a lot of things going with it was Pyroar. Pyroar could have been so good. We made a few plays here and there that were really good with it, like the prediction of the Hoopa and the Dark Pulse. That was great, but excuse me. I don't know how else it could have done for us this season. A lot of people can argue and say Superior should have been behind Pyroar and potentially Arbok, but it's just my baseball personal preference and stuff like that. But Pyroar, I think, is definitely a good Mon. I may try it out in the future in case I wanted to or not. Superior in a normal league without getting its contrary boost, I definitely don't think is the best, but it did put the work in that we needed to in certain weeks. It was able to do some chip damage that we needed for certain games. It was able to have that option to set up and to be a win con, which really could have put teams on the back burner. And I really think it's a good Mon. Whether you will think contrary is the only thing that sells it, that's up to you. But this Pokemon, I think, in general, can put in the work. And if it ever gets drafted again, which probably won't be, but I think it can be workable. Up next is Alcremie. Alcremie kind of did what we wanted to do this season. The only problem is I was stupid in not clicking that, not having a certain item, or I was stupid in just forgetting to calc something. That was the only thing that kind of crippled us on using Alcremie a little bit. Alcremie was still designed to kind of just win certain games by itself or do something else that we wanted to do. But Alcremie is definitely a Pokemon that I may potentially think about going back to in the future. I don't disagree with a lot of people that this is not a great fairy. I do agree that it's not a great fairy, but I don't think it's the worst fairy in the format, and I don't think it's a terrible fairy. I will admit it's not the best fairy, but I don't think it's a terrible fairy. Up next, Armaldo, and Armaldo just barely missed the cut of top 6 after the Week 9 performance it had and the other 2 kills it picked up this season. Armaldo really could have been a lot better, but I needed a good, reliable spinner, and that's sadly what Armaldo had to be this season, was just a reliable spinner. We didn't have to worry about too much about hazards versus our team this season, but we also didn't have any way to remove hazards most of the time. So at times we just got taken advantage of with hazards and stuff like that. But in the end, I think Armaldo is one. If you're looking for a spinner, Armaldo's not a bad spinner to have. It's a great Assault Vest user. It's a really good Mon that uses leftovers. And don't sleep on some Rock Polish sets. Rock Polish offensive Armalo can really be a threatening set. Like Trick Room, Bandit Armalo is also very threatening as well. So there's a lot of ways that Armalo can be good without being reliant as a defensive role. Up next, we have our 6-mon that barely made the team was Wormy, the Electros. Wormy gets on this spot just because he was able to come to pretty much every single game this season. And it did put in some work versus teams. It also was played a really good bulky defensive electric type that we needed to have. And it just really went in. Excuse me. It really just went in against teams. It really just did. And I'm really proud of Wormy this season. I definitely think Wormy put in the work that I wanted to do. I definitely think in low tier is probably one of the best electric types to get because of how bulky it is, how mixed offensive it is. I just definitely think it's a really worthy mon to have on your team. Coming in 5th place is Mian Xiao. Mian Xiao didn't get to do too much for the team, but definitely put a lot of work for the team itself. I definitely think Mian Xiao is a Pokemon I may potentially think about going back to, and potentially thinking about running a special Mian Xiao next time. But Mian Xiao is definitely a Pokemon that is worth trying at least once. This thing's not that terrible. It can be built to be fast, offensive, regenerator, and reckless are phenomenal abilities. Inner Focus can be some nice cheeky tech if you really want to be surprised at your opponents out of nowhere. Excuse me, guys. Again, I just recorded this after my Week 9 match and after the recording of the Week 9, so there's that. But Mian Xiao, fantastic Pokemon. Definitely recommended to give it a shot from everyone. Up next is Trusty Norberta. Norberta, I think, had a really mixed season. It had a relatively decent season, but it also had a really bad season. I think it had a decent season for the fact that I was able to run Special Flygon, and the fact that we just, I don't know, it was just like some situations were just not right for us. We just got really unlucky in certain situations and stuff like that. And then again, Flygon just got crippled sometimes. It couldn't do what it needed to do. It couldn't be able to do what I wanted to do because of hacks or RNG and stuff like that. It just was a Pokemon that just didn't have the luck on its side. But I definitely think it was able to be a major threat to a lot of teams. We're having everyone having to prep for it now. So that was a great Pokemon. I personally think this Pokemon, even though a lot of people may not agree, is an MVP of top 3 caliber. It was for me this season. I can see why people love drafting Corsola and why people hate facing this thing. Corsola was really clutch in some games with the Cursed Body. It almost pulled off an amazing setup win by itself against the New Orleans Sandslash if he just didn't get that freaking max roll. Head Smash! If it didn't get that, we would have won, by the way. There would have been nothing that would have stopped Galar Corsola. But it is what it is. But I definitely think Corsola was great. I definitely think it's the one Pokemon I may potentially want to think about drafting again in the future because I love this Pokemon. I love the design of it. I love the shiny of it. I think it's going to be a great Pokemon for anyone to try in the future. If you're preferring for this thing, I wish you luck. And then finishing off in 2nd place for MVP Patel, because I've actually looked up the kills and everything like that, and these were my kill leaders for the season. And I can see why people love Golisopod. Golisopod was a monster. My first time ever really using Golisopod, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely want to potentially draft this Pokemon again in the future. This thing is a monster. Banded First Impression, Banded Aqua Jet. Priority on this Pokemon is just crazy with 125 base attack power. Really good physically defensive Pokemon. Relatively decent spit up Pokemon. It's probably a decent Assault Vest user. Berry user is also really good as well. But set up priorities, Aqua Jet or Bulk Up, Sub, and stuff like that. It's a relatively good Pokemon. I really definitely think it's going to be a Pokemon I really want to draft again in the future. Whether I think it definitely is a monster in low tier leagues than in normal leagues, but that's just my opinion. Last up on the list is the MVP of the team, which picked up a total, I think, around 11 to 12 kills. And I hope people realize that this Pokemon should not have been worth like 13 or 14 points, and it should be like a 16 to 17 point mon. This monster was a beast this season. It was a fantastic Pokemon. I love using Stag Attack. When it's a low tier league and I see Stag, I will 100% use Stag because Stag is just so good. I love this Pokemon. It's one of my personal favorite Ultra Beast Pokemon. It's one of my personal favorite Draft League Pokemon out there to really use and have. It's fantastic. But that's going to be the draft recap, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting us this APA season. I can't wait to see you guys in the next league and the next game. Until next time, I'm Phil Shocker, Hedgehog. I'll see you guys later.